Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 636 with our review of Love and Monsters. I'm Christopher Schnese.
And I'm Stephen Miller.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week in the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest films coming to a streaming platform near you. This week, we're talking about a little film that I think is available to rent on many different VOD platforms. I assume we both rented it on iTunes?
Yeah.
So that's where we saw it. But yeah, this kind of just came out of nowhere.
Right. I hadn't heard anything about it. In fact, the only reason I knew it existed was because Carson texted me telling me, because you know, he likes to text me and say, like, if you liked this, you should like this instead.
Yeah.
And in this case, he said, like, I know you like Shithouse, but Love and Other Monsters is like my coming of age movie that you should watch. And I was like, all right, I see you, Carson. And I immediately clicked the rent button.
Nice. Yeah. I didn't know it existed until I opened up the Apple TV, and it was like one of those banners that's plastered across every single tile. And it's like, you can't not rent this for $20, so you got to do it. And then when you mentioned that text message, I was like, I'm in, let's do it. There's not much else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, this film came out a while ago. It may seem like this is a review recorded in the past, but it's actually recorded after the election. But whether we recorded it before or after, we still don't know the verdict of anything. So, so just so you know, we're not going to really reference much, but we don't know the state of the world. But let's just hope that by the end of this week or few days, whatever, that the state of the world does not become the world that is in this film, Love and Monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good floor to try to clear. I feel pretty confident. I mean, we don't know the state of the world. I don't know the state of every state. Like, I can't guarantee that Georgia won't look like this by the end of the week, but I think at least where we are, probably giant pincher bugs, it's going to be a little while before they get here.
Yeah. And let's face it, if the world does turn into this world, this universe, I don't know if we're going to be able to survive making it to one of our apartments so that we can record this podcast together.
I know, that's true.
But anyways, what do you say, Stephen? We get into this review.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to take a listen to the trailer for Love and Monsters, and then we're going to come back and give you all a review.
Don't move.
Let me see it.
Don't move, Amy.
Let me see it.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
That's super sweet, because it's terrible. Oh, my God.
Where have you been, Joel?
Amy, I love you. I'm going to come find you.
The day of the monster uprising was the day I lost everyone. Only a small fraction of humanity survived to move underground. I've been scanning for Amy the entire time. And now I finally found her.
Joel.
Hey.
Joel.
Amy, is that you?
Oh, my God.
Hey. How far away is Amy's colony?
85 miles. It's an impossible journey. Everything will try to kill you. Don't fight. Just run and hide.
Okay.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
You all alone? Me too. You don't have to talk about it.
You got me now.
You want to come with me?
So I can't sleep at night.
Look out! Is that a samurai sword?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Listen to your instincts out here, man.
What if I have terrible instincts?
You'll die.
Super encouraging speech.
You made it all this way for a girl, huh? You ever hear the term fool's errand?
Amy, I miss you so much.
We have lost this war.
We could still take our world back.
You're more of a survivor than I thought.
Oh, that was awesome. Oh, I feel like Tom Cruise.
All right, so that was the trailer for Love and Monsters. It basically exists in a world where there's this thing that happens that causes, like, I forget exactly the way they say it in the film, but it's like all cold-blooded things, or it's basically insects, reptiles, amphibians, all these things become these giant monsters that sort of overrun the planet. Think A Quiet Place, but real loud. And real dangerous. Basically, this our main character has been hanging out in a bunker and is not doing so well with the survivalness of things. He's mostly just hanging out in the base, cooking, not doing a lot of stuff. And then he finds out that his girlfriend, who he's been separated for when everything went down, is still alive and at another base like 80 miles away, and decides that he needs to put some things together and make the trek to try to get to her encampment because he misses her.
Yeah. This is like the alternate version of First Cow, where Cookie, instead of just maintaining being the cook and being the quiet, humble partner, decides that he's going to like go out and trek 80 miles to find his beautiful bride.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Miller, what did you think of Love and Monsters?
The word that comes to mind with this movie is enjoyable, and I know that's like terrible from a trying to review the quality of something.
I mean, it has a nice personality.
Yeah, like it. I found this to be very, very enjoyable. I thought this was a super charming movie. It's the kind of thing I wish I would have seen in theaters, because I think I would have fallen for it harder with the kind of big screen. And this, I feel like, would have been a great like 1 p.m. Saturday showing, like something that I would like. I would wake up kind of late. I would trek out to the theater. I wouldn't be expecting anything, and then I would be like just extremely pleasantly surprised by what I found. A lot of that has to do with Dylan O'Brien, the lead actor who plays Joel. So I have not seen any of the Maze Runner movies, so I was completely new to the charms of Dylan O'Brien, and he is such a charming lead.
Did you not review the first Maze Runner with us?
No. See, I did the Insurgent series with you, but I've never done any Maze Runner movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, like I find him just extremely likable. Like he had the perfect personality. He reminds me a lot of I'm totally blanking on the character in How to Train Your Dragon, the lead. Hiccup?
Hiccup? Yeah.
Yeah. He totally reminds me of Hiccup, just in the way he's kind of like self-deprecating but funny, and he knows his limitations, and he narrates himself at the beginning of the movie, and you just feel like you want him to succeed. Like he does a good job of cultivating that personality.
You're definitely rooting for him in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And it works. I think this movie is aided by things that I tend to love in movies. I love when there is like a really cute child actor, or a really cute animal actor. And this movie had it all. It had a really cute child actor, the girl who plays Minnow. I thought was adorable. I think I texted you, or I just thought it, that like, "Rawr, I'm gonna kill you, Joel Dawson. I'm gonna eat you like broccoli," was like one of the cutest lines I've heard this year. She's just adorable, and I loved when her and Yondu were showing him how to survive in the wild. It has a great dog actor. He meets a dog early in his adventure here, and I just found his relationship with the dog to be just extremely, I'm just going to keep saying enjoyable. Like, this was just like a movie that made me happy. It felt really good to watch. And it even has a great robot actor. So you get all of it. That's the Holy Trinity right there.
One of my only nitpicks about this movie is the robot can't fucking power a radio because it needs to conserve its battery life, but it still will have it's like, "I'm sorry, I have to turn off the radio so I can conserve battery," and then it proceeds to tell a story and like project shit and like I'm like, all that took way more energy than the radio. Like, you're just trying to cut it off for suspense.
Yeah, fuck this movie.
Hey, I said one of my only nitpicks.
I hear you. But I loved that scene. This movie has a lot of. You remember with Palm Springs, how there is a moment that I'm still not going to spoil that happens in Palm Springs, just like an aside of what is going on in the landscape, that I found like surprisingly moving, just because it was like wonder, out of nowhere. This movie has a lot of that. It has a lot of good, quiet moments of wonder where you just feel like, wow, this is nice. What a world. And I think it's just clever. It doesn't outstay its welcome. Like, it clearly feels like people saw Zombieland and were like, yeah, we're going to do this, but it's going to be more like, we're going to make a more like adventure version of Zombieland. And I'm totally down with it. I like this, like, exploring adolescent anxiety by killing monsters. I just think it all works really well. It kind of loses a little steam by the end. Like, I didn't totally care about the ending that much. I much preferred just Joel finding himself on this journey from, I think it was going from Fairfield to, like, I don't know, Jenner Beach or something. It's like about 80 miles up in wine country. And yeah, I just liked it. I thought it was very, very, very nice, and I was happy that I watched it.
Yeah, I think this film is great. It is weird because it came out of nowhere, and I don't know that, because I like these type of like YA type of films, right? Like I'm always down.
I knew you were gonna love this movie. Like, the moment it ended, I was like, I really liked it. Chris is gonna like it more than me.
Like I'm always down for watching them, right? I'm interested in them. I'm interested. Oh, to feel young again. I just like the idea of some of these things, and I'm always curious what universe they're going to have. Like, I've never, any of the YA properties that are based on books, I've never like been tempted to go read the books, but I'm always curious. Like, show me a universe that's interesting, and like show me the full universe, right? Like, make me like actually care about what's going on. And I think, like, from the get-go, this film just immediately pulls you in. Like, I'm easily able to identify with this guy. Because, I mean, I always joke whenever we're talking about, like, post-apocalyptic shit that I'm like, I am just going to die. I'm not going to make it. Like, this is...
No, I mean, this make spaghetti.
Yeah. Like, this is kind of like, like, I immediately identify with this guy. And I think that the film, what kind of surprised me the most is... Because, like, I wasn't even really tempted to click on the trailer when I saw the giant banners until, like, we had kind of had a little text back and forth. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks, I'm, like, doing a little looking around the empty apartment to see if anybody notices me going, like, I'm going to watch the shit out of this movie. And I was surprised how big it feels. Like you said that, like, you kind of wish you could see it in theaters so you could really vibe with it and stuff. And like, this is a theater movie. Like, this is the effects look great. The art design of like the like destroyed cities and stuff like that, all that shit looks great. And even like the amount of money that was probably spent just on the scene, it's in the trailer where he first gets, I'll say, separated from his parents. Like, there is so much shit happening there. Like, and it's like a 15, it's a flashback, and it's like maybe 10-15 seconds. And it's like a lot of attention to detail was put in this film to make the big moments seem huge and to make the small moments still feel like you're in a giant world having a small moment. And I think that, like, as you already said, Dylan O'Brien is great in this film. And I think this film is very, very smart because I feel like it is, I don't want to say too much, but I feel like it is really dealing with the reality of this world. Like, it's taking this premise, this YA premise of like, oh, I got to get to my girlfriend. And it's like, well, how would that actually like really work in this world? And what would be the stakes of that? And what would be like the emotional reaction of the people you're with and the people you're going to and like all that kind of stuff. And I really found that like a breath of fresh air. Like, I was like, oh, you really like thought about that. like this isn't just a thing where you're like going for the lowest, like, oh, let's just do this like romance thing. You're like, yeah, let's think about the logistics of this and like actually have that conversation, which I thought was amazing. I do actually think it's kind of funny that like you kind of didn't care about that ending stuff and what was going on with those groups. But for me, it has stakes because of the information he learns by the time he gets there. And it's like, he goes on a journey, learns some information, and then has to do different things with that information in mind, but still like be the guy he has to be and the guy that he is. And I really, really love like where his character is by the end of the film. And like the teasing of potential feature films, like, sure, we'll probably never get sequels, but I will watch every fucking sequel that this thing makes. I will watch. I had a lot of fun, and like I would just like, yes, when they're at the end, like teasing the possibility of future episodes, and just like there's a whole extended universe here. right? Like,
Yeah.
like we could watch shows, movies, anything of just following different groups of survivors as they all try to make their way towards the mountains. And I thought it was fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that the bigness of it is definitely part of what gives it its charm. It felt very throwback in a way to me. Like I immediately thought of Jurassic Park. Like there's everything feels kind of prehistoric, like the plant life that he's walking through, and the fact that the like nature is terrifying but also amazing, and you're just like following people that are experiencing that. How to Train Your Dragon, more than just the lead character, like even just the journey that he goes on, it is very much like him learning the different types of dragons and how to understand how they work and how to use them right. Like that is basically the payoff in this movie, is like this misfit character who is like kind of nerdy and filled with certain things he obsesses over, but he isn't prototypically strong or masculine or anything. By the end, like that ability to collect facts, like is what makes him great and is what makes him, you know, perfect for leading this brave new world. And I just thought that was charming as hell. I really have nothing negative to say about this movie. Like, I think if we reviewed it the day after, it's my fault we delayed it a little bit. And now it's faded in my memory a little, so I don't quite have the same joy that I had the moment that it ended. But yeah, I mean, this is just super fun. It is very, very nice. And you say YA, and I get that. Like it's got to be targeting that demo. Like it's PG-13 for a reason. I feel like this is just a legitimately good movie that might as well not be targeting YA people at all. Like I think it's more of a nostalgia play. Like I think this movie works as well of remember what it felt like to be younger and nervous and not really knowing where you fit in. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know that this is a YA franchise in waiting that just happens to appeal to adults, and more like, yeah, this is a fucking fun action movie about what it feels like to be that age.
Yeah. And I think too, I just went to look it up just to double check. I believe at the time that we watched this, it was only available as a $20 rental. But now you can just purchase it for $24.99. And like, I definitely would have just hit the buy button if I could go back in time and get it, because I would definitely watch this again. Like I thought it was totally fun.
Totally. And I think if it was seen by anyone, like again, if theaters were a thing and this had come out in theaters, I think we could have seen a sequel. I feel like that would be a universe we would live in. Like, I think this is a very lovable movie. And again, he's a total star. Like, like he's great. He can basically anchor. I was thinking also of the Last Man on Earth, and how like at least the first episode of that show is all just Will Forte alone, and it totally works. And I remember when I first watched The Last Man on Earth, I was like, very few people could do this, right? Like very few people could make me watch this much of just a person by themselves exploring a post-apocalyptic world. And Dylan O'Brien's got that. Like I would watch a whole movie where it's only him and the dog. Like I would be totally happy with that.
It's Will Forte and his beard, Dylan O'Brien and his dog, and then Tom Hanks and his volleyball.
Yes. Yeah, those are the three. Or Tom Hanks and his terminal.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going back, sorry, I was trying to add the extra context for the pricing stuff. But yeah, to go back to your question is, it feels like before you watch it, if you just watch the trailer, it feels like it is very YA. And I think to your point, it does feel like it transcends that quite a bit. And maybe I'm just a sucker. But yeah, I had a great time watching it, and if we would have waited till now when we were going to review it to actually watch it, I could own it. But nope. Instead, I just rented it for $20.
I also, without spoiling too much, I will say that the way this movie, the arc of the like love story that this movie is telling, I love when a movie pulls off this kind of ending. I feel like it is like, especially for things with a YA bent, I just love when they manage to go the route that this movie did, and I really appreciated that. I think it gracefully does a couple switcheroos in a way that I think work super well for what the movie's trying to do.
Yeah,
and it just makes it feel more pure. Again, like it feels even less contrived.
Yeah. definitely. Well, shall we get to verdicts, Stephen?
Sure.
All right, Stephen Miller, if you were going to give us a must-see, recommend with a caveat, wait for rental, pass with a caveat, or a must-avoid, what would you give it?
Let's see. This is a big-time adolescence must-see, but I feel like I've been in quarantine long enough now that I'm willing to call that a strong recommend with a caveat. Like, I had a great time watching this movie. It didn't totally stick around emotionally the way that I thought it would, but that isn't to dock the movie. It's just this is a fun, popcorny flick. I think I'll have a great time watching it. I'm just not. I'm now reserving my must-sees for like raves. But I thought it was great. Like, you should watch it.
Yeah, I think I struggled a little bit. Like a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was that we watched this, Julius had asked me what I thought of it, and I was like, I was so conflicted purely because it was a $20 rental, where I was like, it's so weird because if we went to see this at like the Metreon,
we pay like $80.
yeah, it would be so. I mean, not counting AMC Stubs, A-List, and all that kind of jazz. But like that's just how much all movie theaters tickets cost. And for some reason now, especially because there are some weekends where like we reviewed multiple things that cost like $20.
I mean, what am I, a cajillionaire?
Yeah, exactly. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it feels weird to be like, this is a must see, but also mostly the concern is not the spending the $20. It's if I must see it and you spend $20 and then you don't like it the way I liked it, then it's like one of those, it's kind of like when you have a movie you love and you try to get your significant other to watch it with you, and then you can't even enjoy it anymore because the whole time you're like, oh, are they liking it? Is this okay?
Yeah,
Do they
story
hate
of
me
my whole life.
So it's like one of those things where where it feels weird. So I'm gonna do the thing that you guys always prod me to do and say I'm gonna give it the Chris Schnese rating. I'm gonna give it a must see because I thought it was really, really fun. But take it with a grain of salt. That if you spend $20 and don't like this film, it's not my fault. But yeah, that's going to do it for this review of Love and Monsters. Stephen Miller, people want to find you throughout the week. Where can they do that?
People can find me at twitter.com/sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or twitter.com/ChristopherIRL. And my Venmo is... No, I was kidding. That's for paying people back for watching the movie. Anyways, you can find the spoiler warning over at thespoilerwarning.com, where you can get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on Overcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, or instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from the soundtrack to Love and Monsters, so hopefully you're enjoying that. And we have some more stuff to do. Steven and I are going to pack up and go take a trip over to the Blumhouse to bring you some more of those reviews. So look forward to those in the feeds coming soon. That's it. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.